Hi, folks. I did it. Let me bring on my two friends before I forget how to do this. Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Larry. Hello, everybody.
And Eddie. Hiya, Eddie.
Hey, what's up? Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year,
Happy
everybody.
New Year's, right?
We were going to have Anthony on today, too, but they changed some medication on him, and he wasn't feeling that well. So that takes care of it. He'll be on probably next week. I'm going to try to explain today. We're going to go through a couple of things, and one thing I need your opinion on, and any opinions that come in. In fact, I got to keep looking at the comments. So, yeah, I got to remember that. I'm gonna let everybody know where I've been, why I've been there, and talk about a couple of things. The first thing I want to talk about is and this way you can give your opinion, because this is something that I'm not sure of. I'm not sure of, and I saw this on I think it was on Facebook, and this guy Richard Stark writes in, seriously, why is it that many drivers today, not all of course, have no hands, none, and loose line sawhorses looking to make a break? Now, right after that, there was a couple of answers, and one of the answers was from Cynthia, and she says, I think the bikes have changed the way they drive. Because of the bikes and speed, the race is over at the eighth pole. Very hard for the back horses to make up ground when front horses are going all out. And then Richard responds to that. But here's what I and it don't only have to be pertaining to drivers. It has to pertain to when somebody is not qualified or capable or talented enough to do what they're doing. Should you tell them? In other words, there's people that have been driving for 50 years, and they hang on, they're right on the steering wheel, they hang on for dear life, and they can't park, they're forever at the stop sign, and they've been driving 50 years. They go 10 miles below the speed limit in the middle lane, and they come onto highways with trailer trucks coming 70, 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
These are the kind of people that shouldn't be. I mean, if I was a cop with them kind of people, I'd probably pull them over and say, look, you shouldn't drive anymore. This is just a warning, but you shouldn't drive. We've seen many, many times in nightclubs when the star of the show brings some guests up to sing and they just can't sing. But they were, and this is the point of the whole thing. They were like born to be a singer. They want to sing. They love to sing, and I know 5 people like that. But they're terrible.
Yeah.
But that's all they want to do. Are you supposed to tell them? Are you supposed to tell a guy on the racetrack in the business that we were in, don't drive? You're you're dangerous out there. Don't drive. I know that you got into the business to drive. I know that you think you're capable. I know, but you're not. Do you crush these guys' dreams? Or not just in harness racing, in anything? You can't sing. Why are you wasting your time with voice lessons and this and many times when I'm out there, especially like in nightclubs, somebody has to tell this person they can't sing, that they go in a different direction in life. Why are you wasting all this time and money trying to make it? And the same thing with songwriters and screenplay writers and people that write books and people that have podcasts like this. and I'm probably one of them waiting for somebody to say, Larry, just get off. You're terrible. But what do you think? Should people at a real? Go ahead.
I think when it gets to a point when people are dangerous, you have to tell them. When they're going to put somebody else's life in danger as far as driving. I live in Florida. A lot of old people down here, they have no concept of pace, like we would say in the race. They'll come out going 40 and you're going 70, and they just come out like they don't know what's going on. Just come out from the right lane to the left lane like it was nothing.
And the worst part about that, Joe, is when you go for a renewal. If you're 90 years old, they give you a license till you're 100.
As long as your eyes, if you pass the eye test, they give it to you. Yeah.
But
a lot of the optometrists give you, they let you take the eye test in the doctor's office and they pass you, and then you go to motor vehicle, you don't have to do it. It's
what about people that are singers that want to sing and they're just so bad, and you go to their parents and you say, listen, your son or your daughter can't sing, just stop with they're just bad.
Yeah, don't waste your money.
Yeah.
Well, I tell them, thank God you don't sing for your supper, because you'll be starving. It's just like a boxer, a fighter. He wants to be a champion, but he's 0 from 50. But he's got advertisements on the bottom of the shoes. He gets knocked out all the time.
I was in a club one night when Trade Martin was performing there. Now, Trade Martin, I guess both of you guys know who he is. He's an unbelievable guy. He's a great. I remember, oh God, maybe 50 years ago. Yeah, maybe 50 years ago. He would start at night. He had a great band. He would start at 9 o'clock. His first break would be at midnight, and then he'd be at 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
he was really good. Not only was he good, but he wrote commercials for major businesses, including I think 1 or 2 airlines. And he writes jingles. He writes commercials. He did very, very well in his lifetime, and he was very close with B.B. King. He was a producer for him. He wrote a couple of songs. He writes a lot of songs. And but one night he was performing, and a girl wanted to get up to sing, and he told after it was over, he made a comment, and the parents of this girl got a little upset. But he was right. It was true. I mean, they were so proud parents that the girl was on stage singing, but she was terrible. And Trade basically, in a very nice way, let her know and let the parents know. And they walked out. They walked right out of the nightclub. And
they take it very personal. It's like the little league teams. There's talented kids. There's kids that got it, and there's kids that don't have it. Everybody's not meant to be a star.
Now, what do you do? What do you do? Because I know a couple of baseball coaches that coach baseball for the kids, and the parents go up there and, why aren't you playing my kid? And because he stinks, he's no good. Are you supposed to do that? What's the right thing to do? But because you don't do it, it continues, and then they become 15, 16. They're terrible, and all they're doing is wasting time.
Yeah. Well, I coached Little League. I coached softball for the kids many years. And you have these parents that believe that their kids are superstars. And like I had a parent come to me and said, my son in the backyard throws 100 miles an hour. I said, me, we better call a scout, because if he can throw on 100 miles an hour, he's a good pitcher. Why don't you try and put him in? I said, okay. I put him in, boom, bing. They hit him like, forget about it. So everybody's yelling, take him out, take him out. I said, no. I'm not taking the kid out and make him lose his self-esteem. I just want to prove a point to the parents. That keep your mouth shut and let the coach the kid and position him where he won't get hurt and he would enjoy himself and learn.
The parents are the biggest problem.
They ruin the game.
They're the ones who're supposed to say, hey, maybe you should try soccer, or you should try basketball, because football's
Yeah,
not working out, or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. But you do have to be
It's hard, but
honest.
you got to tell the truth.
Yeah, honesty, hurts sometimes. You tell people the truth, and it hurts, but yet you turn the page and you go to the next
I,
chapter, and that's
I
it.
have I have a good friend. In fact, he's part of the family that scouts all around the world for soccer for kids. I think there's different age groups, but I think he's like from 15 to 20 or something like that. But he tells the parents just the way it is, because some of these parents, they ship them from all over the world to wherever they have to be to play.
Right.
Yeah,
And
travel theme. Yeah,
yeah, and he tells them, don't waste your money, don't waste your time. The kid's just not good enough. I
that's right.
remember, I remember a good friend of mine had two sons, very very big in high school. They dominated in football, and then when it came time to the tryouts, they went to the tryouts right here, I think, at the Meadowlands, and they were guys that were bigger than them, that were faster than them, and that were better than them, and they had to just face reality, and they did. And they both got out of the business, football, and both of them are very successful today. But they realized it themselves. But because I guess they were at that age where they were there and they faced reality. But getting to that point, I don't know. I still don't know what the right thing to do is, because I was at a club the other night, and there was a girl singer there, and I mean, I had to walk out. I just had to walk out. It was so bad, and I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do.
Well, if you know the person, and not to criticize them, but just to make them to aware that, hey, listen, this ain't for you. I mean, you gotta gently lower it. You can't just come right and say, "Man, you suck." You know, you really can't. Approach that like that.
I think you
Because
have.
people do.
I think you have to get it when they're very young, because
Yeah,
once they're old enough to start working in nightclubs and everything else, they probably have their boyfriends there or something, or their girlfriends, and you wind up in a big.
Embarrassing.
And yeah, and all of that stuff should be done. I really believe, because I know if it was my kid, I would say, look, you're not going to football practice no more. Why? Because you stink. I would tell him, you're just not good. How could you not tell him? How could you? You got to let him know what the real world is about, what it's all about. I mean,
right.
why are you playing basketball every day when you're 15 years old and 4'11"? Why? I mean, what? So you make good foul shots? I don't get it. Why are you sending your pictures in for modeling when you're ugly?
There was the guy in the horse business.
You can't say nothing when a woman brings out, here's my newborn baby. I mean, 100% of the time, everybody's
The beautiful baby.
baby. Only on Steinfeld you get a reaction.
I tell you, in the honest game, you got really, and then the thoroughbreds, basically, you got some bad drivers. I mean, bad at the harness track.
Well,
I
the
mean,
good thing about the harness racing, and I can name 3 guys right off the bat that were terrible, wind up getting in accidents and breaking their wrists and their arms and everything else, and that
And hurt
scared
other
them to
people.
death.
That's the bad part.
Yeah,
they jeopardize everybody else's livelihood and their life and the horse's life, and same thing at the thoroughbreds. I mean, there's some unbelievable. I mean, they have no conception of where they are, the rate of speed they're going, and they clip your heels because they don't know how to control a horse, and they got, like that article says, no hands, loose line. I mean, you got to keep a horse up on the bit. You got to keep a horse on the muscle. You can't drop those lines.
The sad part about that, and about this guy's about what this guy says here.
This guy was
Why
a
is there
trainer
many
driving.
drivers today
You know,
have no hands? Is because you go to the smaller tracks, and that's what you get. You go to the smaller tracks, you get the worst horses, the lame horses, and you get the drivers that are not good, and just mediocre people that have other jobs and they drive and everything else. And I know because for many, many years I drove when I got thrown out of New York. I drove at all of these smaller racetracks,
right.
and it's just kind of scary. It's
But your ability as a driver in those type of tracks makes you more cautious and mostly aware, because the horses that you are driving are put together with crazy glue. And there's some bad actors and bad hombres and not sound horses at those small tracks.
it turns you into
A better driver.
it turns you into a Satchel Werner. You just go to the front and you just don't.
Wow.
It's like Pete Mealy. You remember Pete Mealy?
Sure.
Yeah.
He used to go to the front end as fast as he could, and everybody would just stay away from him, and then they all just right by him.
He's still driving.
Yeah,
And
he's
he'd
a
come
young.
back and say, "I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest,"
Yeah.
and he just did it all the time.
Yeah, he's an A licensed driver.
Yeah, yeah.
When you get to the smaller racetracks, naturally all the top guys, and to be a top guy, you got to be fearless. You got to have a good sense of pace. You got to you got to be talented in that area. And all these top guys are. That's why it's so hard to separate them. But then you get to the smaller racetracks and you see these guys. They're scary, scary, scary guys. And somebody and you can't even say don't drive, because who's going to replace them? Somebody that's even worse. So what you look at is with a bunch of the smaller racetracks that have incompetent drivers, to answer this guy's question, and the horses that they're driving are not good enough to be anyplace else except where they are, all with lameness problems. And then the adrenaline at the top of the stretch, especially if you're in contention, is to throw the lines and start whipping, and that's what happens. And down they go, and the ones that are smart enough to or become so fearful, because like when you get in your first accident, I went through this. You get in your first accident, and all of a sudden, your horse's nose is not on the guy's helmet; it's a couple of inches back. And then I'm saying, I'm going to the quarter pole one day. I never forget it. It was at Buffalo, and I'm saying, what am I doing? So I'm 6 inches back. I'm not right on the guy, and if he goes down, if I'm 2 feet back, I'm going to go over him anyway. I can't miss him. So you just got to get that out of your head and just make, but some can't. And
you can't have no fear. You got to just be careful and smart.
I remember when Jerry Silverman's kid, Richie, good kid.
Yeah.
He was driving and he got in a really bad accident.
Yeah.
And nobody would use him because when he's first come back, he was a little careful, gapping out a little bit. I used him a lot. He won a lot of races for me, and he eventually got over it. And there's some guys like that Parker kid who got really screwed up for 10.
Not Howard.
Howie Parker?
Jack Parker.
Jack Parker.
Yeah.
I seen him 7-8 years after he got out of the hospital, and he could just about walk and everything. He's back driving today.
Yeah. That guy was in a coma for like 2 years.
Right. He has what it takes, and that's what you need. But when you get to these smaller tracks and these small towns, some people were born into the business that really shouldn't be in that business, but there's nothing else they know how to do. And so to answer Richard's question, the only real answer is that they're not as talented as the top guys, but they have no choice. It's not that they have no hands. They have no hands. They have no
Brains.
They have
They have no ability.
and the horses that they're driving shouldn't even be on the racetrack. So that's probably the answer.
The guy who asked the question, Richard Stark, he was the trainer driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Saratoga.
Yeah, he raced the Yonkers a little bit.
Yeah, Starks is still up in Saratoga, Richard Stark.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these horses that are at the smaller racetracks, if you took the top 10 guys here today and put them on, they'd scratch put them on them bad horses, they'd scratch them in the post parade. They, they just know. They just know. But at the smaller racetracks, they go out there with a 2-inch nod, and they'd be whipping it. I never forget, my brother had a horse, and it was in Florida, Pompano, and this horse had 2 osselets, 2 round ankles up front where they were straight up and down. And I says, Peter, why don't you retire this poor horse? Just retire him. And that was the first horse he had. He just started working for me. They had no money. I was paying him a salary, him and his wife Elaine, who also worked for me. And coming down, so I raced him, but I just raced him careful. And when it come down the stretch, I just hung on to him. He was given all he had, and it was so bad. And when they come back, my brother said, if you would have hit him once or twice, you could have.
You would have been down.
I says, I told you, just retire the horse. But them are the kind of horses that are at these smaller racetracks, and they're racing for 800 claimers, $1,000 claimers, 1,500 claimers. And so it's not that the guy has no hands, even though that's probably the case. He has no, they call it hands, I call it talent. It's just if a leading guy, if you ever put him on a horse because he was there for a stake race, he scratched the horse. Anyway, so the question is, do you say to somebody that don't have the talent in the area or in the field that they're in, or do you just let it go?
You let them down gently. That's all. You tell them the truth.
If it's to a point that they're dangerous, you got to tell them. You got to.
Yeah.
If it's
to a point they just got no brains, no horse, strategy or anything, then they're good to race against.
All right, now
because you beat them every week.
What about a girl or a guy that loves to sing, says I was born to sing, but he can't? Well, do you got to tell him? You got to tell him.
Tell him, don't say. Tell him, don't sing for your supper. That's all.
Hey, listen, when you get off the stage, can you sit with me? I'd like to talk to you and buy you a drink. And then when he sits down, saying, "You're terrible," you just got to tell him.
You got to tell him gently.
Yeah, it's I don't know. So that bothers me. And when I saw this thing that he put up there, I always wondered about that. Do you tell? There's a lot of times, even in Monticello, early on, when the sheet comes out or the program comes out, and you say there's 3 or 4 of us in a race, and you say, "Oh my God, that guy is in this race. Be careful of him. Get around him.
Yeah.
And the guy shouldn't be out there, but they're out there. Anyway.
In our business, the judges should step in when it comes to something like that.
Yeah.
The judges should step in and say, listen, this game is not for you. You want to train? Okay, but you're not going to be out there driving it.
But Joe, if they did that to all the smaller tracks, they'd probably be 2 drivers.
Well, when a guy is really dangerous, you got to worry about the other people. You can't, you got to stop them.
All right, here let's go on to something else. I had dinner last night with Carl D'Angelillo. I don't know if you guys know.
My man, Carl.
Yeah.
All right.
Carl.
Are you still working on the docks?
No, he's retired. He's
out. He's out. I spoke to him when you gave me his phone number. I spoke to him. We had a long talk, laughing about the times up there, Monty.
He brings his wife just died recently, and he's having a tough time. So his son, who's a very handsome kid,
Yeah, Carl.
His son came over. His son is a money manager. He does very well. He's a good kid too. Very, really
Do
good
I know
kid.
him, Eddie? Was he in the horse business?
Yeah. He worked
Oh,
for me.
yeah, he was up in Monticello. He worked for Gags, did he too?
He worked for Mike Gagliotti. Then
Yeah,
he worked
yeah.
for me.
What's his
In
last
fact, he
name?
worked for me when I got him his license, and he
What's
worked.
his
Yeah.
last name?
And then he went up.
D'Angelillo.
D'Angelillo.
Yeah, he had dark hair, black curly, like wavy hair. Good looking kid.
He might have gotten out of the business before you got in, Joe, or right
Yeah,
around.
I don't remember.
Him and Ron Rinn used to hang out together
Yeah.
up in
Well,
Monty.
anyway, you see, for the people that are listening, there's a lot of stories that I don't tell because I know everybody's going to say this guy's full of shit. There's some stories that I do tell that some people know about it. Last night, he told me 3 or 4 stories I completely forgot about that were hilarious, funny, and good. And yesterday, you, Joe, you called me up and verified a story that a lot of people don't believe. It was about MMF, and
Right.
that I gave him to Hervé. And nobody knew, but nobody knew that. Nobody knew John Gotti owned them. Nobody knew that he was one of my. Nobody believed that he won 10 or 11 races in a row.
My ex-brother-in-law, Bobby Fiorentino, he was a driver trainer.
Yeah.
He came to see me at my ice cream stand in Hollywood, and I haven't seen him in like 2 years. And he was telling me, he says. I said, yeah, Bobby. I said, I've been on Larry Rolla, got a really good podcast. He's on every week. Matter of fact, I was on it a few times. He said, oh, I know Larry. He said, I used to take care of a horse for him. He says, but he was with Hervé, the horse. And I says, who are you talking about? He says, MMF. It was a nice trotter, he says, that Larry gave us. He was like a C2 trotter. He went right to the open. He won like 7 or 8 in a row. I says, he told that story 5 times, I says. He bought him off to John Chapman. He had 4 bad feet, and he straightened him out, and the horse went from a C2 to the open. He said, that's 100% true.
Let me tell you the story again. I'll say it real quick. John Chapman had a horse for sale called MMF. He was a 4-year-old. I think he was a maiden. He had oblong feet.
Right.
Which is the worst foot you could have because the walls are very weak. He had a quarter crack on each side of each foot, which means he had 8 quarter cracks. I bought him for $5,000. And what I did was I was patching quarter cracks then on my own horses with fiberglass, the fiberglass kits I used to buy at Sears and Roebuck. And every day I would clean 1 quarter crack out, 1 foot out, both sides. And then I'd pack it in Epsom salt and I would dry it with lime and dry it all out. Then I'd do the next one. By the time I got to the last one, the first one was dried out, ready to go. And that's what I did. After I did all 4 feet, it was probably a month or 2. I started training him, and he was unbelievable. And I was barred from Yonkers Raceway because of Tannenbaum, and so I couldn't race there. And I didn't want to race at Monticello because at that time I was in a lot of trouble. You all know the story. So I'm looking to make scores and looking to cash bets and this and that. So I called up Hervé and I says, I'll meet you in the diner. And I told him, I says, Hervé, I says, I have a horse I want to send to you because I don't want to race him in Monticello. There's no handle up there. I can't bet up there. And I want to send him to you. But there's 2 things that you have to know. You can't mess with this horse because Hervé everybody knows Hervé. You can't. This horse has to win. He'll win. I'm telling you, he'll win. The cheapest class was C2.
Right. Exactly what he said.
C2 all the way. He'll win C2, C1, B3, B2, B1, A3, A2, A1, Invitational, whatever. He'll win all the way up the ladder. The only thing I want from you is I want 2 horses to play behind them every week. That has to be because the owner of this horse is John Gotti. you can't mess with him.
Yeah.
So he says, no, that's okay. And that's what happened. And he win. Now, I remembered the name when you told me this yesterday. I remembered the groom who took care of him. It was Marcel LaBelle.
Marcel LaBelle.
Marcel LaBelle, that big, tall Canadian.
Yeah, with the big, thick black glasses.
Right. I used to give him 200 every time the horse win, and Hervé found out about it, and he got mad at me. He says, don't give these guys no money. I don't give them nothing. I says, Hervé, the kid does a good job with the horse. And that's probably when he took him off the horse and gave him to your brother-in-law or whatever.
Yeah.
But that horse win over 100,000, win, I think, 9, 10, or 11 in a row.
Yep.
Win over 100,000 of purse money, and I sold him to Gary Lewis for $100,000. Gary shipped to Pompano, swam him in that pool they had on the training side,
and he drowned.
First day he swam him, he drowned. Yeah, it was sad. But that's the MMF story. I'm glad that somebody verified the story
To the T. To the T, he verified.
To the
Every
T.
word
Yeah.
he said, it came out of his mouth exactly like you told me.
Now, I'm going to tell you another story, and maybe somebody could verify this. And I know a lot of times, I have a good friend of mine, and you guys probably know him. He moved to Arizona, and me and Carl were talking about him. His name was Jerry. And me and Carl were talking about him last night. I forgot. I forgot. I haven't seen him in 50 years. But anyway.
Gerald Sizer.
No.
Jerry Maguire.
No. He was a groom, but he had a photographic memory. And I remember on one of the podcasts, I said a story, and he called me up. He says, Larry, he says, that wasn't on a Tuesday. It was on a Wednesday. I says, Jerry, it was 60 years ago. I mean, give me a break. But that's how some people call in and correct me. You have to understand that when my life was going on from the time I was a kid until now, I had no idea that I was going to write a book about what happened. If I did, I would have kept notes. I would have had everything factual. Sure. 3/4 of this stuff, I kind of fill in the gaps. They're true stories, but who could remember what year, what track, what meet, what this? Now, I'm going to tell you one that I know that for sure. When I was up in Buffalo getting my license, there was Pat Quaglietta and Mike Foley sent me up a bunch of horses that I used to qualify. And one of the horses was a horse called Jolly Gent. He was a free-legged pacer. Now, after all of that happened and everything, I come back down to Pat Quaglietta told me, he says, Jolly Gent, he's 13 years old. He's 13 years old. He says, I think it was in 61 or 62. He says, be kind, be careful with him, use him and everything else. But I'm looking to make a big score with him and him to go out a winner. So in the qualifiers, I just raced him around the track, raced him a couple of times, and he was like a 10 claimer, and I raced him in 10s up the track to 8. And by the time that year was over into the next year, we had him down to like a $3,000 claimer. So because Pat had a plan, and the plan was we were going to race him in the cheapest claimer they had at Roosevelt Raceway, which I think might have been a 2,000 claimer. The fact checkers can check me.
I think a 4.
In 1963, this was.
Oh, in the 70s, it was a 4. I know that.
No, I think it was cheap. I think it was 2,500.
Really? Maybe.
And we backed them all the way down. And then me and Pat, I never forget this. We sat in front of the truck on race day, and it was on a Friday, November 22nd, 1963. We were sitting in front of the stall, and we both had $2,000 to bet on Jolly Gent. He was I think he was 10-1 on the morning line. He looked terrible. He showed 8, 6 fifths, 8, 6 fifths. Even though he was dropping in class, it's just like it was all over. Plus, he was 14 years old.
Mhm.
And so we're sitting in front of the stall, and we fed him lunch. We were eating a sandwich, and all of a sudden, a bulletin comes over the radio that they canceled the races because President Kennedy got killed. So they canceled the races. So that was the end of that. The meet was over. The end of that week, the week.
And he turned 14.
He never got in. The horse turned 14 years old. You can't race him, and that was the end of that. So that was the Jolly Gent story that Carl reminded me of last night, and that was that. And the other thing about going back to MMF, after I patched all these quarter cracks and everything with fiberglass, I bedded them down on peat moss, maybe like a foot deep.
Right.
And that does an unbelievable job, especially with horses with bad feet. It makes them grow better. It keeps them moist and mild and everything else. And
I had all my horses on peat moss at one point.
it's a dirty mess, but
It's a mess.
yeah, it does the trick. Okay, so all right. So now we covered. Do we tell no talented people that didn't have no talent? We covered that. We covered the Jolly Gent story. We covered the MMF story. Let me see if there's any comments here. I got to remember. Okay, here's some comments. Before I get into the next thing, because I want to talk about my friend Alfred and Sharman, about their book and their movie and everything else. Okay, here we go. I'll put them right up. I hope everybody's respectful. Hello, Larry, Joe, and Eddie. Okay, you could say the name, Joe.
Angelique.
How do you say it?
Angelique.
Angelique. Okay, Angelique. Hello, Angelique.
Hi, Angelique.
Okay, the next one is, hello, gentlemen. That's Big Bones BB. Hello, Big Bones.
Hello, Big Bones.
BB Gun. Hello.
Hey, Eddie, somebody called me up, told me you won a race Friday?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Who'd
Congratulations.
you win with, Ed?
First trumpet.
First
I
trumpet?
beat Chad Brown and Todd Fletcher.
I like that. I like that name.
First trumpet?
First trumpet.
Yeah.
First Trump. Here we go.
First Donald Trump.
Trumpet.
Here we go. Okay, let's get to somebody's comment. Well,
He's the only felon the president. Holy shit.
Okay, here we go. Jordy, is that it, Jordy? I don't know if that's Jordy.
Yeah, Jordy.
Hello, Larry.
It's hard to see.
That might be Jordan. Okay.
Hello, Jordy.
My friend Sundance. She used to work for me.
Oh.
She's what a beautiful kid. She's I think she's in her 60s, and she has.
Nice to see you again, Eddie. All right.
Yeah, she said hello to everybody. She's a good kid. Been through a lot major health problems.
Do I know her from when I was up there?
I don't know. Her name is Trish, a little girl, but really good kid. You might know her because she was around a while. She has
she says it's nice to see you again, Eddie.
Yeah, she's always on here. She listens.
Oh.
She's going through a bad time right now, but she has a photographic memory. She tells me stories about me that I completely, and good stories. I should have asked her if she wants to come on. She calls me almost every day. Anyway, let's see this one. JW, good to see you guys again. Thanks for showing up, JW.
All right.
Big Bones, Joe, can't hear you well, buddy. Well, we have that problem every time Joe's on because the speaker, he's too far away from the speaker, but the speaker, I don't know, he tries to fix it.
You were supposed to buy me a computer 2 years ago. Tell him. Let me get close to this thing.
Drinking too much coconut soda.
No, I got Arizona because last time I was chewing a coconut for a half hour.
I know you were spitting it out all over the screen.
I just had dental work done, and I had to chew with my front teeth these little pieces of coconut.
Okay, Big Bones BB Larry, and I don't know what he's doing. Oh, them, what do you call them? Mojos? It's laughing
Emojis,
and
yeah.
crying.
Hey, Larry, I'm proud of you.
Man, not
Larry,
mojos, emojis.
What do you call them?
emojis,
Emojis?
Emojis.
Say mojo?
emojis.
What do I know? Whenever I have two words that sound, I got to call Joe to tell me which one it is.
All right, mojos.
Mojo.
Mojo, Mr. Mojo Rising.
Okay. Alex, hi Larry, love the show. Sad to see Freehold close. Yeah, that's a lot. Put a lot of people, put a lot of good guys, horsemen, out of business. I don't know what they're going to do because I don't know where they're going to race. It's just a mess. It's an unfortunate mess that only proves that the people that own these racetracks, um, the bottom line is money, and that's it. And when if they have a better deal from uh, contractors or whoever, they're gone. That's what happened to Roosevelt Raceway.
It's a shame because these places like historic landmarks. I mean,
Yeah.
he's over 100 years old. It's corrupt politics. It shouldn't be done.
When I
Well,
was
they said that is not what do you call what you just said
Landmark.
a landmark because when it burned down they remodeled it so it took the landmark away. That's why they had the authority to close it.
So that
But
means
I heard
that means if they built a new bathroom, it's not a landmark.
no,
You know what I mean? It makes no
they
sense.
changed something. They're trying to get to Monticello to take over the abundance of the horsemen or the racing. I don't know, from Freehold. They're supposed to, I think, try to make Show Place or Gateway because they do have qualifiers there and races.
They got stake races coming up, in the summer. They have to have them somewhere.
Yeah, so they're trying to pursue one of those farms. I don't know about the pari-mutuel way. Maybe they'll do it like Goshen does it, have the stake races and just, no betting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Alex,
Well, simulcasting everywhere, and everybody got online betting. So it's not like it used to be. They can still bet if they want.
Alex says his favorite driver of all time is Wally Henderson. Great driver. Got nice guy, great driver.
100% right. He's a great driver, great with the young horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just to really concentrate on the New York Sire Stakes.
He used to come to Yonkers in New York when they, raced the Sire Stakes in New York. He was there every year. I use him all the time. But he's a great driver. He's a nice guy, sharp guy, and he's honest.
Okay, Eric says, I saw an old Monticello video where the horse was both a trotter and a pacer. Is that really possible? There've been two horses like that I know of that raced both on the trot and the pace. Yeah, that's possible. I had one or two. I probably could have tried because without the hobbles.
Crownwood was one. And the one Cherrick said.
And Croquette's Victory. Remember Croquette's Victory at Roosevelt?
Yeah, but what about the one Cherrick's had? Robert Cherrick's. He had that double-gated pace and trotter.
I remember Crownwood. Terry Richter, I think.
Richter. Yeah, I was stable at a gambling farm right with him.
I was at gambling farm.
Yeah, I loved it there.
Yeah.
They had the orthopedic. They had the swimming pool, the treadmill. Yeah. They had the thoroughbred track and they had the trotter track.
Right.
All right. Chris says hello to everyone. Hi, Chris.
Oh, good. Got to borrow 100. I'm broke.
I don't know what this means. Big bone. What does that mean?
What?
Can you see that? I don't know what that means. I'm not even going to. TROCCGL. I don't know.
I can't even read it. It's so small.
Traco Ketsi? What the hell? Oh, he's just probably it's probably some Odell. I don't know. Go to stay.
Eric, I went to closing day at Freehold and it was a packed house. Seems like the end of harness racing not too far away. Well, it's the end for a lot of tracks. They closed many tracks, and I'm hoping that it will survive. But a lot of them small tracks that we talked about earlier will probably have to close,
But you
unfortunately.
know, it's so ironic, Larry. Monticello, that place has 100 million lives. I can't believe that track just keeps going and going. And I
Well,
give all those guys up there that race there every year a credit to keep that place really going.
just think
The-
about it. Just think about it. Monticello. If they closed the racetrack, what would they put there? Nothing just seems to work. I mean, it's not a convention center no more. It's not what would they put there? I don't know.
That's the armpit of the world up there. That's like, it's horrible up there. Sullivan County, where they are, it's like disaster.
yeah, but weren't they building? They were building at that hotel at the Concord. They were building the racetrack or something, or
They were
I,
supposed to do that, but they just got the simulcast at the gambling. They're giving Monticello a piece. Because Monticello
yeah,
doesn't have gambling no more.
all right. Jesse Black says Sharky raced at Yonkers, which is true.
Richie
And he
Stark, yeah.
he would know. Yes.
yeah.
I told you that before.
Jesse Black, how you doing, Jesse Black? My friend Jesse, he has he has a health issue too. Thank God he got good news today about it, but it was a little scary in the beginning. But he's going to be fine. JW, I can't believe how many bad jockeys there are today in thoroughbreds. Lots of female riders who are terrible. They have no upper body strength at all. There's a lot I can say about that, but I won't. I'll leave it to you, Eddie.
Well, I tell you, you have right now. There's this girl, Sophia Vivas. She coming from Canada. She is a top-notch quality jock. She's winning races here at Aqueduct. Unbelievable. You got Katie Davis, who is Robert Davis's daughter, and you got Jackie Davis, and you got this. You got a couple of these girls.
Sammy Davis.
Huh?
Sammy
Jackie Davis and Katie Davis
Sammy Davis. Larry's friend.
and yes, Sammy James. Yeah. Well, whatever. They those three are about very good. Not like Rosemary Hallmeister or Julie Crone, or they were top notch quality jocks, female jocks. There's a couple of female jocks that are very weak in the stretch. They can't. That's the type of jockeys you would tell, hey, listen, or you don't put them on and they get the hint, you know.
Mhm.
All right, Gary D. Everyone is waiting for your show. Hope your health is good. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I get a million phone calls and from people that watch this, and everybody's wondering why. And there's a couple of things I want to say. I hope I have time to say it today because, and I will, and I'll make it real quick because I want to get to my friend Alfred in his book. Let me just go down some of these things. Joe and Ed, always great on your show. Gary D says that.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
JW, news broke a few days ago that Belinda Skronich wants to decouple horse racing from slot machines. Uh-oh. Something is very wrong at Gulfstream Park. You know anything about that, Eddie?
But Stronach with the casinos.
Yeah, Stronach wants to decouple horse racing from slot machines. That
Oh,
means
I haven't heard nothing about that. This is the first time I heard this.
well, you heard it from Belinda.
I don't know.
Go, Alex.
Joe,
I don't think they can has to be passed through legislation. Okay, he's talking to JW. Okay, let's see. Jesse Black. Carl was a Meadowlands guy, always in the track kitchen.
call the Angelillo.
My pal, the good guy. We had
Yeah.
there about 2-3 hours. He told me stories, all the stories he tells about when he was with me and the things that happened. Baywatcher, Larry Rolla, salute to you, Baywatcher. Tom Kopp, I haven't been here in a while, still talking about feet. Tom Kopp, I haven't been here in a while neither, and we haven't mentioned. Oh, yes, we did. We're talking about feet, MMF. Yes, you're right, Tom Kopp. Very good. See you at the comedy store. Okay.
Angelique.
And she says, Angelique, correct. Hello. So you said it correct. I can never say it. Angelique.
Mama Luke. Angelique.
Mama Luke.
No, don't say Mama Luke.
What does that mean? I don't know what it means.
No.
That's Luke Olette's mother.
No.
Okay. Mama Luke. Very good.
No, don't say that.
They are trying, Alex. Okay. Eric, top trainer, Stafford Joseph caught drugging horses again. When will this stop? I don't think it'll ever stop, but I think the guys that do it are so far ahead of the people that are trying to catch him. And
they're giving unbelievable. They're giving stuff to these horses that the humans take. Metformin, that's for diabetes. They're giving them, holy Christ, all sorts of shit they're giving these horses. And it doesn't, I don't know why they're even taking that chance or that shot, man. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
really.
See that the sad part about the whole thing is this. The guys that are doing it, and it's all the top guys. And the top guys are all training 100 horses, 150 horses, 200 horses, 300 horses, and they have to perform. They have to stay there. The smaller tracks, you know, you can give them vodka in a syringe and they'll buy it and think it'll do something. But the top guys in both industries, they have to keep at the stage that they're at, and the only way is to create that level playing field is to stay ahead. And like I said before, what are you going to do when you have a vet bill that might be $100,000 or $200,000 a month because you have 300 horses, and you tell your vet, and the vets know that whoever is out there and they have access to it, that's what I want. And all they have to do is change one or two things. I don't know anything about chemistry. And so that's what's going on. That's why I don't think it will ever stop. It will ever end. I only hope that the top guys, because they have hundreds of horses, each one of them have hundreds of horses that died of heart attacks through 10 years. And I only hope that they just slack off or find drugs that, you know, they went through that period. Now find something, whether they be painkillers or stimulants or whatever, that don't show up, that's not going to kill a horse.
We never had that in harness racing, horses dying like that. Never. Once in a while, a horse would die, but not like in
the thoroughbreds. Yeah, not like in the thoroughbreds.
Something's
well,
going on.
You know why? Because I said it 1,000 times, and no offense to you, Eddie. The thoroughbred trainers are, as far as horsemanship goes, and knowledge on how to treat, how to train, how to do everything, it's not even close. And
I agree with you.
And
no, I told you that before on the podcast.
We're hands-on. We do everything.
Yeah,
I call them the suit and tie traders. I said it's the only game in town you can get paid $200 a day wearing $3,000 suits, sitting in your car drinking coffee. Yeah. But that, you know, they don't have no piss stains or shit stains on their knees. They don't put wraps on.
They got all thoroughbred guys on here, so take it easy. But you're right. I can't get a thoroughbred guy on here. There was one guy that said he was going to come on, and then he never did come on. So I don't know. I stopped trying. I'm not even going to try anymore. I'm just going to try to come up with topics. Try to get I got to call O'Donnell. I got to call Billy. I got to call a bunch of guys that I want on because that was fun. The reason I'm going to tell you in a couple of minutes why I haven't been on and what's going on, because it also affects two of my friends too. And there's something I just found out today that I want to say. Let's go through. Oh, we're almost at the end, so let's do the rest of these. John Ramsey, there is only one track left in Chicago, Hawthorne. Yeah, I think the tracks that are going to last are the ones in Kentucky. Eric, before Christmas, the final race on closing day was won by Bah Humbug. Rumor is Scrooge had 100 to win on him. Now that has to be a joke, right?
Yeah, it must be.
Hello, Larry. Good to see you. I can't say that name, Joe. So can you see it?
Elias.
Elias. Hello, Elias.
Catagrits.
Oh, I know that's a Greek name, right?
Elias Catagrits.
Gritos.
Anyway, hello, and thanks for tuning in. Okay, the final race. Okay, we said that one. Let's see this one.
Angelique.
That's the same Lojo or
That's
Lojo?
the first one. That's the first one that came on.
Okay. Good to see you, Larry. Michael Page. Thanks for checking in. Fellas, I heard from very credible source that Martin Garcia plugged in Citizen Bull, and I totally believe in top 3 choices out of the exacta and big field dollar exacta came back 71 short. Well, maybe you know about that. I haven't been following it, so I don't know. So I don't know.
I don't either.
But thanks for the info. Gary D, incredible hearing from Mike LaChance. Great guy, good guy. And we got to get him on again. There's just so much to him to talk about. But I want to get the other guys on. I gotta get into this. I gotta get the other guys on first, and then we'll have Michael back. I'd love to get Michael's son on because he's one of the top guys in the country today that's drug free. Just he owns his own horses. Everything is, he with the help of his father, and his father taught him good. He knows where to place.
He's a good horseman, Pat.
Yeah,
he really is.
I unfortunately, I think I met him once or twice, but never had any kind of friendship with him.
He drove for me at Yonkers quite a bit, and he's a good driver. He's a gentleman, and if he tells you a horse is off left front, he's off left front. He knows he's a good horseman.
And he's one of the ones that stays at that level on hay and oats and just basics, basic stuff. So good for him. Okay, we're almost at the end. Similar situation next day. BC sat exactly came back 207 a buck short. Okay, so Alex must be a gambler. I'm really not into that stuff, so I don't know. But thanks for the information. Eric, no joke. Honest to God, look it up. 38 watching now. Please hit the like. That's Jesse Black. He always wants everybody to hit the like button. Jesse, we haven't been on for like a month or 2 months. I even forgot to post that until the last minute. Well, 38 people. Thank God we got 38 people.
It's a Friday, Larry.
Huh?
It's a Friday night. Everybody's used to your Thursday.
Yeah. Okay, Sundance. Larry, remind me to tell you the story about your blue Cadillac Seville. I'll tell you when we go to lunch. JW, what the limit to how many horses a trainer should have? What are you going to do when an owner comes to you with 30 horses? You're training 30 already. Guy comes to you, good payer, you're doing well, and he wants to give you 30 horses. What are you going to turn them away? So you take them and you create a situation where you're the guy to go to because you're winning races, you're doing good, you don't have any positives, you got a good reputation, and you're going to wind up with 300 horses. Like there's two or three. There's a thoroughbred trainer that has 300 horses, and there's a standardbred trainer that 300 horses, and they're doing well. You don't want to turn them away. That's what you do for a living. And so anyway, that's it. Let's see, Larry, what experience did you have with Ray Remen? Ray Remen was one of the first guys at the Meadowlands that Joe DeFrank brought there. 100, him and his brother Larry, 100, the nicest people in the world. Great horseman, great driver, great. I can't say enough good things about him. They were in the barn right next to me the last year I was in business, and just nothing but if you needed anything, if you needed help or whatever, they were there. He's just him and his brother, just two great guys, and I can't say enough good about him. And one of the best horsemen around and drivers. He was one of many that really belonged at the Meadowlands and at the top of the heap. And
I think he won the first race ever at the Meadowlands, didn't he?
he did. He did. He's just a good guy. And here, Jesse Black says Ray, he was a great guy. Okay, one more. Good guys met at Pompano with beach towels and breeders. Good guys met at Pompano Park with beach towel and breeders. Okay, beach towel was a horse, so that means he must have been in a breed. I don't know. I maybe you guys know. Good guys met at Pompano Park. Oh, so he's talking about Ray Remen, who had beach towel, and he met him at Pompano Park at the Breeders' Crown races or something like that, right? I guess that's what I'm deciphering. Anyway, that's it. We answered enough questions. Now what we're going to do is, how do I do this?
You got to tell him your situation, Larry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let me tell about the situation. Then we'll get to Alfred and Shaman. The reason I haven't been on, and I think I mentioned this before, was because I was, they took out, and I either have to answer 100 phone calls or just say it. So there's only 38 people here, maybe. They took out, I had terrible pains in my stomach. They took out 17, 18 inches of my large colon intestine. And they found a couple of lymph nodes that had cancer in them. And then now they took everything out and they put a bag on the side. And now the treatment for they want me to go 6 months chemotherapy, the whole routine. Everybody's been through it. And the experience that I had in the last 2 months of in and out of hospitals, in and out of doctor's office, and it's an unbelievable experience. And I just can't believe it. Now, the doctor said with my situation, they said, you've been, and this is some information, you could have avoided all of this had you had colonoscopies. And I said, I had a colonoscopy every year of my life, since I was a teenager. I said, and but when I was 75 years old, the doctor says he said it wasn't necessary. And I had a 5-hour meeting today with a doctor at Hackensack. And I told her this, and they said, and here's the point of information, that for years, up until just recently, they said after 75, you don't need colonoscopies because if you do have cancer, you'll die of old age before the cancer will kill you.
Very true.
They changed that. Now they raised it to 85, and it should be for as long as you live, because what I went through, and I'm not complaining. I mean, I'm not complaining because, like I said, when I was in that hospital, there was 952 patients in there, and I was the healthiest one and the oldest one that was in there. And when I walked through the halls, which was all night long for 7, 8 days, and today, and you see that these young kids, these young people, and people in their mid 60s, 70s, and 80s, they're riddled with cancer. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. And so the news is, you get colonoscopies, because this didn't have to happen to me had I went for my regular 5-year thing at 80 years old, because the doctor told me that this didn't happen overnight. It happened over a 5-6 year period, and this never would happen. So now they're recommended that 6 months worth of chemotherapy, which I'm not going to take. And we had a big meeting about that. And my reason for not taking the chemotherapy is because I'm 84, soon to be 85 years old, and that I may not even live the 6 months, natural causes. I mean, I'm not 40. That's number one. Number two is I'm a pretty active guy. And there's many times when I have meetings in the morning for breakfast, and that lasts into lunch. And then I have a business meeting at night for dinner. And this knapsack that they got on me, it's stopping me from doing it. It's just a pain. It's a nuisance. And then they constantly ask you, they call me every day, these nurses, and today too, and on all the questionnaires, do you have any, are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling suicidal? I feel none of that, but I can understand why some people can get that way, especially if you're young and you're given a diagnosis of terminal cancer, stage 3, stage 4 cancer. I mean, man, oh man. So it happened to me because I didn't go for the colonoscopy the following year like I was supposed to, or, because the doctors told me, and now they raised the limit to 85. So it's something that's very preventable, and all you got to do is do a colonoscopy. So it's two days of a little nonsense that you have to go through, and then it's over and done with, and you don't have to worry about what I'm going through now, because now, and don't get me wrong, like I said, in that whole hospital, when I walked the floors and I talked to the nurses, I was the healthiest guy in there and the oldest guy in there. There were people in there that I felt so bad, and I hate to go to hospital. Even today, when I went to this, because I refuse to take chemotherapy and radiation, and I says, I want this thing reversed in 3 months. I want it reversed. So they're going to reverse it in March. The only problem now is that they took 17 inches of this thing, and now they have to hope that they could stretch it to rehook it, so I don't have to have this bag on the side. But the other news I wanted to say was that they come up with this. It's brand new. They come up with this blood test that tell, because what they're afraid of now, my whole insides now are cancer free. They took the lymph nodes out that had cancer. It's cancer free. But the way they explained it to me today, I says, if I'm cancer free, why do I have to take chemo? They says, because it could be micro pieces of cancer that's in the surrounding tissue and fat all around that could in a year or two grow into a non-reversible situation. So I says, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not taking chemo, mostly because there's no guarantee. Now, if you said to me, if you do 6 months of chemo, I guarantee you, they can't guarantee you. They don't even know if it'll work. They said after 2 or 3 weeks, if you don't get it, you're having real bad effects from it and everything else, we will stop it. And I says, they still no guarantee. After 6 months, there's still no guarantee that it's going to do what has to be done. And then they told me, but there's a new test that just come out. You take this test and this blood test, it's going to take 2 weeks for them to get back to me, that they could tell in your blood if there's any trace of cancer. I don't know to say it right, but there's any trace, the minute trace of cancer, it will show a positive test. So they says that, so that's what the test I took today. And they said that in 2 weeks they'll have the results. If the results come back positive, that means the cancer is growing, it's active in different parts of my body. If it comes back negative, they said that means that your immune system killed whatever little fragments of cancer was there. So I'm going to wait the 2 weeks out. They're going to call me and let me know if it's negative. Every 3 months, you take the test. That's the good news I want to bring out to you people that maybe be going through this thing. So in the meantime, I sent my lab reports, everything down to the Bahamas, Dr. Burton, where his therapy is, and I'm very familiar with that, is he just takes your immune system and turns it and supercharges it, where your own immune system kills all of these things.
Did they get back to you, Larry?
No, they did get back to me through an email, and they said that because their phones, they changed their phone system to Vantage or something, and it will be finished today, I think. And they says that, but I sent them my lab reports through the email, and they said they got it. They're going to discuss it with the doctors down there. And if they feel that based on the report that they could help me, I'm going to fly to the Bahamas, stay there for 6 weeks, have my immune system supersized. And I have a great experience with this. I must have sent hundreds of people down there, including my cousin Cookie 40 years ago, who was terminal. She's still alive and well today.
Is that woman there that you used to know?
Yeah.
There?
She's still there. Her name is Lynn Austin.
Right.
That's the one that responded to me, because when I called every day, I just got the answering machine. So she must have looked at some of the messages and she emailed me privately. And so that's what I'm going to do. So for those of you, I know everybody feels bad about it, but look, I'm in good shape. I'm in good shape, and I just want this because this big, and just like I told the doctor says, "Well, what's the big deal? What's the big deal about having the bag? You're comfortable with it." I am. I change it. I got no problem with the bag. The only problem I have is that they tell me that when an 85-year-old guy comes in, there's two kind of 85-year-old guys. There's the 85-year-old guys that come in hunchback in a wheelchair and everything else, and they sat in a rocking chair for the last 20 years. That's not me. I'm an 85-year-old guy that does the work of 40-year-old guys. And I have 2 or 3 business deals going on. My meetings are from morning to afternoon to night, and sometimes into midnight. And maybe that's why I am like this. Maybe that's why I'm 85, but I think I'm 20, and I do the work of 40-year-olds. It wasn't like, and this thing is stopping me, because the pain in the neck about it is, you know how many times I had breakfast with a guy talking about this and this and this and this and this and this. And then they says, okay, we finished breakfast, but we're still sitting in the booth for another 2 or 3 hours. And then we wind up having lunch. And then I got to run home, and then I have a dinner appointment at night. I got to run home and take care of this thing. It just interferes with everything, but it is what it is. And then with the movie thing going, you know, it's supposed to be happening any time now. It's just a pain in the neck, but it's my own fault. I accept it. I am certainly not depressed. I am certainly not suicidal. It is what it is. Like I told the nurse today, I got no problems. I passed my life expectancy to 78. I passed it 5 years ago. I'm not worried. 6
for you, Larry.
Chemotherapy. I may not live 6 months. I may not live 6 months. Why torture myself for 6 months? Well, you know, if after 2 months, if your hair falls out and you can't stop throwing up, and why put me through that at 84 years old when I may not live a week after that?
At your age, everything goes slow, Larry. Your hormones are not producing like they were.
I'm not.
Everything is slow.
I'm not worried about that. The only thing that bothers me a little bit is that, they haven't advanced much. Well, I shouldn't say that. They have a lot of advancements, but like I told them, they says the chemotherapy today is a lot different than it was 50 years ago. And my answer to them was, then I understand that, and I understand through the talks that we had. But why is death rate the same? Why do you consider, if you live 5 years, cured? Why does still 3 out of 5 people still die of cancer? Why, if all of these things, all of these promising things that you have are so good, you still have operation, chemotherapy, and radiation. That's it. That's been the same thing for forever. And you're telling me that you perfected it more now, yet 3 out of 5 people still die from cancer every year. And everybody that's in that hallway, they must have been 50 people in the hallway. They says they're younger than me, and within 5 years, every one of them will be dead. So I'm 85. I'm fine. I did everything I ever wanted to do. There's only one thing I wanted to do, and that was just recently. I wanted to go to Italy. I wanted to see that all of Michelangelo and all Leonardo da Vinci. I wanted to see all of that stuff. That's the only thing, but that's no big deal. I even got my passport because of that. But if that's the only thing, I did everything else I ever wanted to do. I lived a life that's just unbelievable, and so I'm fine. It's just that now I got to make decisions. Do I go to the Bahamas for 6 weeks, and right in the middle of everything that's happening, I have 2 major business deals that are ready to explode, that I'm right in the middle of, that I have to be there. I'm supposed to start with the actor with the writing the TV series. I'm supposed to. There's so many things that I have to do, and now this. That's the only thing that gets me a little upset. But it is what it is. I learned a long time ago that my life I'm constantly gonna hit these road bumps. My whole life has been that way, and this is no different. So anyway, okay, that's enough about that.
See, what keeps you going and alive, Larry, is your attitude, your spirit, and your willpower to live.
Yeah,
You're a solid dude, man, and you make the decisions, and it's going to help you out, and you'll be fine. You just be what you are right now and keep going forward. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Look at the windshield.
all
Because the
right.
rearview mirror is a small little thing. The windshield is big. Just look ahead. You'll be fine.
Thank you, and a lot more winners to you. Now we're going to get to my friend Alfred and Charmin Nittoli. These are my 2 friends that wrote the song "Here's to the Band, Here's to the Band" for Sinatra. And I said it many times. If you never heard that song, you have to you have to listen to it. It's finally Sinatra paying tribute to all of them great orchestras and musicians that made him what he is. Because without the band, where would he be? And Alfred and Sharman wrote that song. So when you get a chance, you can
You put it on Facebook, didn't you?
I don't know if I did. I don't ask me things where I have to think back. I don't remember.
No, just now. I mean, like a couple of days ago, you put Sinatra on. Was that the one?
No. I'm going to get to that one too.
Oh,
But for those of you out there, just go to YouTube. Here's to the Band by Frank Sinatra. It's a great, great song and a great, great tribute to all musicians. Now, I want to show you this. Alfred, that's Alfred right there with the white glasses on. And that's all his friends, all musicians. That guy on the right next to the waiter there, he was the bass player for the Four Seasons. He just died, I think, last year. Anyway, Alfred made this movie himself, his own money. He made it himself. Him and Sharman made themselves. Shaman, his wife, edited it, and it's on. If you go on Amazon Prime and punch in "Does the Band Eat?" That's a movie he made about his life in the entertainment field, working on all these wise guy joints, not getting paid to sing certain songs. It's an unbelievable. It's a real good movie. He made it himself with his own money. Shaman edited it, and you can see it on Amazon Prime. Now, here's the book he wrote, A Popular Unknown. So for those of you that don't know Alfred, he's Joe Pesci's. First of all, he had the best groups around in New Jersey and New York for years, going back. He was on Ed Sullivan. He was really good, really good band. And besides being an excellent saxophone player and having one of the best bands around and being on Ed Sullivan, he see what happens when you get old. My mind just went completely blank. Anyway, aside from being a musician, naturally he grew up with Frankie Valli. He grew up with Joe Pesci. He grew up with all of them guys. When Joe Pesci became a little famous after the Raging Bull, he asked Alfred to be his stand-in and his double, and he put him in all the movies in. And so Alfred's in a lot of the movies. In fact, if you remember the one scene in in Casino, when they're sitting at the bar, and Joe Pesci says to him, "Gave you the rent money. Would you blow the rent money? Would you gamble the rent money away?" That scene there, that's Alfred and Joe. And then he was in The Irishman and everything else. But anyway, he wrote this book, and this book here that's on the screen right now, A Popular Unknown. And Shaman told me, because I asked Shaman, I says to Shaman, I says, now he just reordered a bunch because he was sold out. So Shaman says, if you scroll to the bottom of the page, which I did, and I don't see the address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you anybody interested in this book. It's an unbelievable book. I have it right here, and every page has a picture, many pictures of all famous movie stars and mobsters and gangsters that he worked for, that whole story. So if you want to order it, call up Alfred. Now, if Shaman says if you scroll down, the address and everything is on there. But here's Alfred's phone number, 973-953-1247. So call Alfred at that number. Tell him that you want a book, and then he can make arrangements how to pay whatever. They'll take care of it. And this would be it's a pretty big book. It's like a coffee table book. Here it is here.
Wow.
It's a pretty big book, and it's full. Every page has pictures of all movie stars and all the clubs that he played in, all the mobsters and gangsters and all of that stuff. And he's also the one that wrote that song that we played yesterday on the podcast. There was no podcast yesterday, but we just played that song. It's Getting Late. And
that's a great song too.
Yeah, I want to make that like my theme song, because it, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play it right now while and just listen to the words, because I played it last time I was on, but there was a terrible echo, and I'm hoping that, it's only 2 minutes, so just listen to this and then we'll come right back on. Listen to the words.
Those grudges,
Can't believe you're watching all
they're
those
just weighing you down. Drop the haters, procrastinators, 'cause one man's smile is just another one's frown. When it's time for the end, ain't no warning, my friend. One day you're here, next time you're really gay. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Dump collections, self-reflections, they're just covered in dust. Why obsess, worry or stress? Just ask yourself, what's the fuss? When your doctor calls you on a Sunday afternoon, gonna be a blue Monday, you'll be howling at the moon. You know you never can cheat fate. Lighten up, it's getting late. Forget bling and glitter, text and Twitter. Don't need it to make my case. Say it old school, face to face. I dump the users, soul abusers, turn and walk away. Give yourself a kick in the ass, then raise your glass. Let's toast to the past and make the most of today. Keep the faith, rise above, do the things that you love. Find a reason every day to celebrate. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late.
Okay, basically that's a song. It's almost at the end now. He's trying to find a country western singer, a famous guy, to sing that. So it's not out. You can't buy it no place. So that's it. As soon as it becomes available, because a lot of people call me up and they like this song. They want to know where to get it. You can't get it. So if anybody is very friendly with a famous country western singer, contact me and we can make it. All right, so I guess that's it. Do you know
Anyway,
that?
listen, Larry, while we're on the subject of books,
Yeah.
I got a book for Christmas, and you guys are not going to believe it getting this from me, but I want to recommend this book I got. I don't know if you could see it.
Can see it now.
It's called The Achievements of Kamala Harris. And it's very good reading. And I want everybody to get a copy of this. And here it is. It's very fast reading. It's all her achievements in life. And you'll enjoy it.
Very good, Joe. Very good. Hold it back. Hold it back more to you. That's it. Now you can see the whole thing. Now open it up and show some of the pages.
They're all blanks.
That's all her achievements.
Very good. Very good,
I
Joe.
figured I'd fit that in.
Yeah, that was very good. We just now we have 38 people watching. Next week we'll have 15.
You have 150.
That was funny. That was good. All right, but we've been here for an hour and a half. I thank you two guys for coming on. I have to say to everybody out there, because I got 100 phone calls and they never stop coming. Thank you for your concern. Thank you for your well wishes. I'm fine. I'm okay. I just said what I said because the phone never stops ringing. And in fact, when I was in the doctor's office for 5 hours today, I got 4 or 5 calls. I mentioned to you that Ron called, Warren Woodbury, Eddie Hudson. It just on and on and on. What happened? What happened? Now I just put it out there, and that's it. Plus a little
You're going to be all right, Larry. Your attitude is this is what pulls you through. You're going to be okay.
Keep the colonoscopies going, and and that's it. And I thank you all. I hope everybody has a happy New Year, because I don't even think I came on, because this happened right the day before Christmas, I think.
Right.
Something right around there. So the whole holidays and everything, it was all screwed up. It was and not only that, but I had appointments during these times when I was in the hospital. I had appointments
To go to California.
I had, there was just so much going on, and many phone calls and messages on my email address. I must have 150 messages. I can't respond to them all. So now everybody knows, and I'm fine. I'm doing fine, and thank you all for your well wishes. Joe, I hope your father makes a fast recovery. I know he fell after the knee surgery.
Thank you.
And good health to you, and you, Eddie. Good health to you, and keep them winners coming.
I got one racing tomorrow. I got it. He'll be all right. That's the one I claimed off Billy Mott. He's running tomorrow in the 4th race.
Is that the one you castrated?
Yeah.
Oh, he's running. Well, that's his first start back.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's. I'm sure. Just hope he comes back. I'm sure he'll come back good and
Oh
sound.
no, he's sound. He's sound. He's good. He's good. Just that the weather has been so bad. It's very hard to train a horse.
How do you handle? I walk my dog at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It was like 25 degrees out. How do you do it? How do you get to the barn at 5 o'clock in the morning in this weather at your age?
Very easy. I put the heat on in the car, and then I go into the barn, and then I go up to the track, and I stand outside. I don't go into the trainer's booth because I don't socialize with those phony fuckers. So I just stay.
The suit and tie guys.
Suit and tie trainers. I don't socialize with them. I stay outside, and then people yell, "What are you doing out that cold?" I go take a walk. I stay there. I enjoy it. What are you gonna do? It's exciting still, but like these new rules and that heister and all the other bullshit. There's so much garbage going on with this. It's terrible. Terrible. They scratched the guy tubbing a horse before the race, tubbing a horse with Epsom salts and warm water. They scratched him and fined him.
They scratched the horse?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Can't put ice no more. You can't. They had that big ice thing at Belmont. You could get ice in the morning. The big freezer. They shut it down. No more ice. Can't ice a horse.
You know what they should do? There's a whole lot I could say about this, but I stopped talking about it because I don't have an answer. I know they want to clean it up, and I wish they could, but I don't think they could. Plus, they got the wrong people trying to clean it up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What they should do is that obviously the wrong people, but what they should do, I think there's 49 or 50 people in the original group that's trying to clean this up, and they got some horsemen now in. They should go to the barn every morning at 5 o'clock and go through everything that they go through everything that a trainer has to go, both in standardbred and thoroughbred, because they're trying to get into the standardbreds. Put them on a jog cart.
In a muddy day.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning when it's sleep.
40-mile-an-hour winds and sleep.
Yeah, it was 10 degrees out.
and then come back. And then in 2 days, train them a mile, and then 2 days later, race them, and then come back and say, okay, now this goes on. What you just did this week, this happens 51 more times this year. Now, do you want to help this horse a little bit? Because right now, you're going to have a hot chocolate. That horse is going to be in the stall, just standing there, and hopefully that he'll be comfortable. But don't you think he deserves a little pickup now and then?
Yeah.
You're stopping all of that. In an effort to stop the drugs that you're never going to stop, you're creating a situation where the horse that puts on the show in standardbred industry that races 35, 40 times a year and is more, without no help, without no gratitude, without nothing. And that's what you did.
Yeah.
Let them spend 2 weeks down there. Let them live in. Let them come every morning.
They couldn't do it for a day.
Yeah, they
No.
do it for a day. Yet they want, and also she gets some of the state stewards. When they retire from their police job, that they want to put them in one of the commission jobs. Let them.
Yeah.
Instead of putting them in a booth at the stable gate, let them groom or let them hot walk.
Right.
The other day it was ironic. I was racing a horse. I had the one post. There was 11 horses. I had the one post. They load me in first. Larry, my right-handed guard. I stood in that gate 12 minutes. They couldn't load 2 horses. Do you think they took those horses, backed them out to walk them? My horse was so tied up and muscle cramped. She finished 8th by 30-something lengths. I called up the stewards. I said, something has to be done. I said, I stood in that starting gate 12 minutes. I said, now, look at the results of the race. Who won the race? The 11 and the 10, first and second, and the 8 was third. They were the last ones to go into the gate. All the inside horses were back. I replied, I had to make a complaint. He says, you're right. They should have backed you out, walked them a little bit. Because the horses were warmed up and it's cold. They stood in that stall for 12 minutes.
The first answer should not have been Heiser. The first answer should have been a bunch of horsemen getting together.
Right. I was just going to say,
creating a group of experienced horsemen, jockeys, and drivers and trainers to solve some of these problems. So these things.
There's no unity, Larry. There's no unity because the higher up elite runs the whole show. The guys with the 200, 300, 400 horses, they run the whole fun. They run the condition book. They run the races. They put their horses where they do not move without. You look at every race, there's got to be 1 or 2 of those big shots in there.
Yeah, I know. But you see, the reason I stopped really coming down on them is because something has to be done. The problem is they have the wrong people that are trying to fix a problem that even the right people I don't think could ever fix. But no. I'm not sure. So if I don't have an answer, I can't criticize. I kind of leave it alone, and I send out messages for this girl. I forgot her name already.
Lisa Lazarus.
Yeah, and sit down with a couple. Don't sit down with the top thoroughbred. Sit down with me. Sit down with some of the regular guys that've been through the mill and that know what's going on and teach you. When I'll give you an example. When they right before COVID, when they were going to do my movie, Nicholas Pileggi, Richard Price, and that actor Ed Burns were the writers. So I told Ed Burns, I says, come with me because it's going to help you in the writing and understand more about what I went through. I called up Carmine Abatello. I called up Eric. And I says, ask your father that I want to come down with Ed Burns right around noontime. So save 1 horse that don't go out. I want to get on. I want Ed Burns to get on the jog cart with a horse, go through the all the motions from cleaning the stall to harnessing them up to getting on the jog cart, going around the track and everything else. And he set it all up. Carmine set it all up. He says, okay, and this and this and this, and then COVID happened in the January, February, and then that was the end of that. It never, naturally, COVID the next 2 years, it never happened. But that's important. You can't send a stenographer in the operating room to do a heart transplant. You can't.
No.
You got to send qualified people in there, and that's the problem. And because of this problem that they have of all people that are not qualified, and they realize that, that's why now they're starting to put some in, some veterinarians in. They're starting to do all that. They're going to have 1,000,001 lawsuits. 1,000,001 lawsuits. And the bottom line is every positive test is going to be hooked up to a human drug where they said the groom had this or the groom had that. It's going to be connected, and it's going to be it's just a mess. And I don't have no answers. That's why I stay away from. I'm staying away from it, hoping that they can fix it, hoping that they can save harness racing. And that's why what Michael Chance told me is 100% true. Don't end the podcast. You already told your story. Now let's have some fun. Let's have some harness guys on there. Let's talk about their experiences, the fun times, the tough times, and everything else. And that's what I want to do. I want to get Joe Rico. I want to get everybody. And I could. All I got to do is pick up the phone. But for the last month, I've been in the hospital. So, I can't.
New year. It's a new year.
And yeah, I just want to see where the next week or two before. And if it turns out that I'm going to be here, then I will contact all these people and we'll have some fun. In the meantime, we have to try to build up the viewership. So, but I guess say you get Billy O'Donnell on and you promote it. He's going to get 100 extra people come on, and we'll do it. Michael Chance convinced me not to end it, and so did you, So I didn't end it. This is the first time I'm coming back. I answered a lot of questions about my health that everybody was wondering, and we're gonna go forward. The only problem I have is if I do decide to go to the Bahamas for treatment, I'm gonna be away for 6 weeks. Now, everybody says I could do it on my laptop. It took me 6 weeks to learn how to do it with this computer. But maybe that's what I'll have to do. And Sharman said she'll show me how to do it. So anyway, that's it.
Larry, how is, speaking about Carmine Abatello, how's he doing? You told me he had some issues.
Somebody told me that Carmine wasn't doing well, that he had some issues.
Right.
He was in the hospital. Eric put it on Facebook. I forget what the heck he's going through. I think he had some surgery, but it's nothing really detrimental, life-threatening. Yeah.
Because when I found that out is when I had my problem, and I wound up in the hospital, and then everything after that. So I never got a chance to find out. But
I'll look into it. I'll let you know.
If any of you guys speak to Eric or Carmine, send them my best.
All right.
You're going to do that, right, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm going to talk. I'll reach out to Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you tell him.
Find out how Carmine is and tell him that me and Joe said hello.
All right. Because I speak to Joe Kowalski. He talks to Eric a lot, too.
Joe Kowalski. Killer Kowalski?
Killer Joe, yeah. He's still driving. He's in, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All
right, guys. I got to go to bed.
Take care.
Joe, thanks for coming on. Eddie, thanks for coming on.
No problem. Anytime.
Take care of yourself, Larry.
We're going to do it on Thursdays again. Back to Thursdays?
Yeah. Friday's a tough day.
Yeah.
You have nobody on. Then no one even knew.
Yeah. Okay.
Just keep your head up, Larry. Keep that attitude. It's good.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to end this thing now.
Just push the button.
No, I gotta look for there's a thing for the closing. I think this is it. Okay, good night, everybody. See you.
Good night, buddy. Happy New Year, guys.
I'll speak to you, Larry. Eddie, take care.
You too, Joey.
It was nice seeing me.
Tell Carmelo I love a book. Signed it next time.
Yeah, it's good reading. Even you can read it, Larry.
Where can you get one of them?
You like that, huh? I'm going to send it to you.
No, I don't want to take you only one. I want to know where to buy it.
I read it 3 times already. I'll give it to you.
Something like that. And I'm not political.
I know. You're not gonna tell me.
Something like that.
It was good. It was good timing.
If you walk into the hospital and walk into all of them people that are terminal in it and show them, at least they'll get a good laugh.
Or a hit in the head.
Regardless what party they support.
Don't go to the left wing.
Goodbye.
I'll get it for you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Take care. God bless.
Bye.